Hello, and thank you for watching You Money Happiness, a channel devoted to folks who want to live a good life and who understand that money and money management have a significant impact on our personal experiences. Please take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment. So I am Armando Roggio, and in this video, which I recorded on September the 19th, 2020, I'm going to talk to you about a proposal from presidential candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden that at least one, the Wall Street Journal columnist, doesn't believe goes far enough toward making 401ks fair and effective for everyone. Now, I want to start by saying that this is not going to be a political video. In no way am I going to try to pass judgment on Vice President Biden's proposal. Rather, I'm going to give you a rundown of a Wall Street Journal article about that proposal. So, Vice President Biden's 401k plan or information about it has been out for, a month or more. But on September 19th, 2020, a columnist named Spencer Jakob wrote about it in the Wall Street Journal. I actually first learned about Mr. Jakob's article when I was listening to WSJ Your Money Briefing podcast yesterday morning while I was rowing on my rowing machine, which I think you can actually see behind me in the video, or at least the top of it. I then went online and read the article in the Wall Street Journal, and let me just start by reading you the opening paragraph or so of Mr. Jakob's article. The 401k is having a midlife crisis. Depending on your point of view and probably your tax bracket, it is either a raging success or never quite lived up to its potential. The latest signal is a proposal from Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden to tweak the tax benefit at the heart of the popular savings plan, kicking off a fierce debate. Some experts claim it will make it fair, while those representing investment firms say it will hurt them. So the primary argument, if you will, in Jacob's article is that the 401k and the tax benefits it brings with it have been very successful for relatively wealthy workers, but not as helpful for folks who are wage earners on the sort of lower end of the financial spectrum. As evidence of this, Jacob points to the fact that the median family's 401k balance was just $7,800 at the time of writing. Now, in contrast, the top 10% of 401k holding families had a balance of around $320,000 in their 401k account. Now, of course, the contribution limits of 401ks are the same for everyone, but you can't really guarantee that someone will contribute. So something like 94% of families that had an annual income of $150,000 or more contributed to a 401k account, according to Vanguard data. In contrast, just 31% of families earning $15,000 or less made a contribution to a 401k account. Now, this is important because the tax benefits associated with 401ks are proportional to contributions and to your tax bracket. So the more you contribute, the bigger the tax benefit. The higher your tax bracket, the bigger the tax benefit. Jacob writes, not only is it a lot easier for high earners to set cash aside, but they are also given a bigger incentive to do it, courtesy of taxpayers. Much of the projected $286 billion in retirement tax breaks this year will go to them. To explain why this is the case, we need to again mention that the tax benefits associated with a 401k are related to the contributor's tax bracket. So if you are in the 37% tax bracket, which is the highest for 2020, and you put $1,000 into a 401k account, your tax subsidy is $370. However, if you are in the 10% tax bracket and you put $1,000 into a 401k, your tax subsidy is just $100. Now, as you watch this video, and I hope as you go on and read Spencer Jakob's article and listen to the podcast that I mentioned a few moments ago, you should ask yourself, do you think that the current method for 401ks is in fact unfair, as Jacob and ultimately Vice President Biden imply, or do you think that it makes sense that those folks who have the highest tax liability ought to have the opportunity for the biggest tax break? I would really like to know what you think here, so please comment, let me know. So how is Vice President Biden proposing to make 401ks more fair for everyone? Well, basically, it's this. Number one, eliminate the 401k tax deduction as we know it. Number two, give everyone a 26% federal tax credit on 401k contributions, regardless of income or tax bracket. In Biden's plan, everybody gets a 26% tax benefit regardless. So if you put $1,000 into a 401k account, your tax subsidy would be $260. Doesn't matter if you're in the 37% tax bracket or the 10% tax bracket. Does that make sense? Do you think it's a good idea? So as you might imagine, folks who could earn more than a 26% tax benefit right now are not necessarily huge fans of the proposal. What's more, there are at least some fund managers who think that Biden's proposal could force high wage earners to save less or cause them to save less, or maybe find other retirement investments that are earning at a better rate. Here again, I think you should take a few minutes and decide what it is that you think. Now, for me, one of the most interesting bits, if you will, was in the podcast, when Jacob said that he really thought that Biden's proposal didn't go far enough to reform 401k tax laws and make them fair for everyone. In fact, in both the podcast and his article, Jacob pointed to some more radical proposals that included, pooled investments or mandatory enrollment into 401ks. Now, that article, that podcast, really got me thinking a whole lot more about Vice President Biden's proposals and about whether or not I believe 401ks are fair across the economic spectrum. And in fact, it's because of this interest that I decided to share this with you in the video. But you know what? There was something else. I also thought talking about Spencer Jakob's article would be a great opportunity to encourage you to stay informed about the news and policies that can impact your personal finances. For example, if you're watching this video on YouTube, I'm going to include a link to Spencer Jakob's article and to the podcast that I mentioned in the description. And I would encourage you to subscribe to both the paper and the podcast. I especially want to encourage you to subscribe to You Money Happiness here on YouTube so that, I can help you stay informed about your personal finances. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful and informative and maybe even a little bit entertaining. Please do take a moment to like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you next time. Take care.